Hello, welcome back, Patriots. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Chaida. I'm a Black conservative commentator and writer, and this is my podcast where I discuss relevant issues surrounding people, society, culture, and politics. I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm so happy that you decided to join me today. If you're new here and you love faith based commentary on different issues happening around the world and even around the country, then this is the podcast for you. So go ahead and click that subscribe button. Uh, give this video a like and leave a comment, American flag, in the comment section to let me know that you are a patriot. All right, let's get into it. Yeah, it doesn't go that far back. Yeah, I've decided to stick to Jeremiah. And in Jeremiah 11, it says here, this is a very intimate scripture. You hear this a lot in the pro life movement, but I think it's so relevant and so true at heart. And I wanted to share it with you. And it says in Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." I'm going to be diving into the story of my life, basically from when I was born to about now, and I'm going to share um, about what I've been up to since aging out of the system. If you don't have been with me, I know a lot of you guys who probably subscribed to this channel very recently haven't watched probably episodes that I have focused on my journey in the foster care system. But if for those of you who know, I used to do a series that was called Fostered Stories, and it will be a series where I would talk about different pinpoints of my life, just in the system, and I just wanted, and if so, I can like curate a playlist of different episodes that I did in that series, Foster Story, and where I talk about different points in my journey, about different things that happened to me when I was a kid in the foster care system. I'm 26 now, and I first entered the foster care system at age 11, and I didn't leave until age 21. So that was 10 years of my life in the foster care system. As you guys all might know, I'm based in Virginia. I did not grow up here. I grew up in the state of Maryland, and I grew up in the foster care system in Montgomery County, Maryland, specifically. So let me get started with this story, with my journey. As a baby, I was born to a single mother. My dad wasn't really much in the picture. I grew up with just my mom primarily. And because of some issues she was dealing with in the home, and there was some abuse going on, I ended up staying with my dad for a little bit. But my stepmom and my half brothers, because my dad had kids with other women, and he also lived with he was also married and also had kids with this with my stepmom, who I refer to. And my stepmom and my half brother said no go on me staying there, because my mom would come by and create issues for them and for me as well. So I went off to live with my maternal aunt, uncle, and my cousin Chelsea at the time. And I was about 10 years old, turning 11, and I lived with my aunt and uncle for a year. And then I was eventually given up to the foster care system. When I was living with my family, it's what they like to, in the system, in the foster care community, it's known as kinship care, where you stay with a close blood relative. They want you to partner with someone that is of close close relations to you. In my first foster home, I was raised by a single foster mother, and she already had grown kids out of the house. But in the home, there were also two teenage girls who were in high school, and there was a younger girl who was younger than me. You know, I was about 11, she was about 6, and she was also fostering that little girl. So it was the foster mom, me, the two teenage girls, and then the little girl. The little girl she ended up adopting during my time in the home. You would think in a home where it's just all female, you would think there will be times where we get along, that we get along, but it wasn't like that. My foster mother, my first foster mother, she wasn't very emotionally. She just wasn't there for me. She really neglected to deal with some of the issues that were going on in the home. For instance, kids would oftentimes pick on me, hit me. There were oftentimes family members that would come and visit and come to the house. Often she oftentimes had grandkids come, and I remember that it was in her foster home. I was SA'd for the first SA'd by another girl my age in the home, and I would spend years in the system carrying on this burden and carrying on this carrying this guilt with me, because I for the longest time I didn't see it as sexual assault. Like, I didn't see it like that. I saw it as, and social services at the time didn't really knew, but they didn't. But when they did knew, they didn't really. I came out about it like years later when I was still in the system, and when they did a short investigation, and they declared that nothing bad really happened, or and they kind of blamed it on me. It's really hard to talk about that, to talk about the things that happened to me in this particular foster home, because as an adult now, I still cry about it. Yeah, you would think with all this time, um, it you think with all this time, it wouldn't impact me so much, but it did. Anyways, I went off to my after was in this foster home from about age 11 to age 13, and then my social worker got me out of the house and put me in a new foster family where I was being raised by a Baptist couple, and it was a man and a woman, and they were married, and they already had two sons grown up and out of the house. So when I basically came into the picture, I was it was the attention was going to be on me, because I was all they were. I was the only kid in the house, and it didn't foster anyone else. They saw that I was doing really well academically. Like during that time in middle school, I was really trying to apply myself, and I was doing really well in school at the time. And they took an interest in me and make sure that I pursued well in my academics. For eighth grade, basically lived with them for about a year. For eighth grade, I got A's and B's, and they were really proud of me for that. I also was feeling I I would like to say, like, I wasn't very social, but I tried my best to um I really tried my best to get closer, to become more social, to hang out with peers my age, because I just I didn't really get to hang out a lot in during my middle school years, because in my when I was living with my mom, I would hardly hang out. I would do play dates and hang out with friends, but it was very skim. Like, it didn't happen very often. And then when I was in my excuse me, when I was in my first foster home, um, I didn't really do any socializations. I didn't really hang out with anyone, because my foster mom didn't really make that a priority for me. So I wasn't really able to like get out of the house much, unless it was with the family, and that was just already a toxic situation for me. So in this home, I really tried to take advantage of the time of my time there and trying to uh, socialize, but I didn't really get a lot of social skills. And to be honest, the couple, they kind of just nicked pit me for it. Even though looking back, it's like I tried, and it's not like really my fault, but I really wish they would have been a little more sensitive about it, because as a kid, I wasn't really getting a lot of socializations. And so it was in this home where a lot of my behavioral and mental health problems were coming out, because I spent, yeah, like the first like 13 years of my life in like unsafe environments, and now like I feel like things were a little bit more normal, that I felt like a little safe to like express my emotions better. And my foster parents, especially my foster mom at the time, she didn't really know how to deal with that. She wasn't, looking back, she wasn't really equipped to take on a kid who had a lot of emotional baggage. And I guess as foster parents, you don't, I, I want to give grace, but at the same time, there's like so much resources, so much information out there that you need to educate yourself with. That's why I don't think that most people, some people just don't go into fostering with the peer. Some people go into foster care, go into being foster parents with the purest intentions, but they underestimate the um the they underestimate how much it's going to take on. Like, you're just, not only are you trying to create, put a kid in a home, you're trying to create this environment for them where they feel safe and nurtured. You also have to deal with social workers, court cases. Sometimes you have to deal with battling with the biological parents and trying to make sure that the kid is safe, trying to make sure that they're doing everything. And the second time, these kids are carrying on burdens that their peers can't relate to, and so they feel like they have no one to turn to. And as a foster parent, that is when you're supposed to step in and try to show the kid that it's going to be all right. And I don't think like in any of my foster homes, it was like that. Anyways, I ended up not staying there, and I learned from my former social worker at the time, my social worker at the time, that they didn't intend on keeping me in the home. That they made attempts time and time again to remove me from the home. That they asked my social worker, my caseworker at the time, to remove me from the home. So it was in this home, I really thought like, because they took such an investment into me, like I got to. Oh, sorry, sorry. They took such a huge investment into me that I just thought like I got to paint my own room. I was playing recreational youth soccer. Like I was suddenly feeling like a normal kid, and I really thought that this was going to be. And to find out that it just wasn't going to be really broke my heart. Um, my a friend of mine suggested that I write my former foster parent. I later found out that my former foster dad passed away a few years ago, and and my friend suggested that maybe I write my foster mom a letter. Thank her for at least trying, and I look back and I think, did she really even tried? Like, I understand I was a lot to deal with, but again, there's a lot of resources, a lot of information out there. You don't have to do it alone. And you don't have to wrestle with a child who's out of your depth. And I think some people go into fostering thinking that it's just going to be easy, or just taking in another kid, providing them a home, and they don't take them. They don't think they're gonna. They don't think about the emotional debacle that comes with the mental gymnastics that come with the legal dilemma that comes with fostering a child. I think a lot of people go into it thinking like it's just going to be a good cause, and it is, and just they realize it's just not what it cracked out. What the cookie doesn't crumble that way, I guess. I just want to move on to my third foster home. After I was moved from a home, I was in a home for a short period of time, and in the foster care community, it's known as recip care. Recip care is just like a foster home, but the foster family only keeps you for like a matter of days or weeks. You're not supposed to be there long term. And then I was off to my third foster home where I was raised by a single mother. She had adult kids, and she already had, when I came into the picture, she already had two sons who were grown. She had an adopted daughter who was on her way off to college, so she was about to be out of the house. She had another daughter who was about my age, and she was a single mother. I really think that when one of the things that I think about when it comes to fostering, I don't think single women need to be fostering alone unless they're going to have a lot of help from the church. Because I thought about it. I thought about being a foster parent and and I don't. My thing is, I don't think I want to do it alone. I rather do it with a husband. But I get it. Like sometimes women feel this maternal instinct to go out and do this, that they don't really care about the man. But women by nature are just overwhelmingly emotional and just don't lead with discipline and structure like a father would in the home. So it really comes out in their parenting, and it really, in the long term, if they don't have it in check, it really leads it could be very detrimental to the kids. So I'm not a fan of like single foster parenting for both genders. I don't think single people should be going out signing up to be uh, foster parents. I think there needs to be structure in a home for foster kids. That's just my opinion. I know some people might not agree with that, and that's totally okay. But yeah, I was raised by another single mother who was emotionally abusive towards me, and had a very narcissistic tone to it. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I'm not going to say that she was full out or a narcissist, but she very whenever I would act out or misbehave or stuff like that, she would tell me that I was creating attention. She would belittle me. She would not refer to me as like her niece. She would try to distance herself from me socially, by telling people that I'm her foster child rather than her niece. Like she had this thing where like she will tell people I'm her niece or something to make me feel like I'm more part of the family, because the term foster kid was very derogatory. And and then when there were times where I act out or misbehave, she wouldn't call me a she would call me her foster child, which to me really showed that there was shame in being a foster kid. And yeah, there was shame. And I know that for a lot of you guys watching this episode, watching this episode and watching me do episodes at the episode do put out episodes each week, I'm really grateful to be in the place I am, to be surrounded by people that I'm surrounded by, and to have a tribe of my own, even after spending years in the foster care system. Like, you don't know what it took to get here. Like, what it took for me to get to this place. I, I I've been burdened by what has been done, but by His grace, I have been renewed by what has been. And I am so thankful for God. What, like, for some of you guys, I hope that you guys never have to carry the weight of complex PTSD, carry the weight of emotional trauma, carry the weight of childhood trauma, because it can, for someone who grew up the way that I did and is able to be here, present, working, being involved politically, and doing this podcast, trying to make a difference in her life, and also trying to give and help other people along the way. Like, I'm doing pretty good for myself, and I'm really proud of myself. And I wanted to do this episode because I wanted to share my story, and I wanted to be known, so you guys didn't. I don't feel like another commentator, another yapper, another YouTuber on YouTube, a young YouTuber on this platform, or on Spotify. If you're watching this on Facebook, hi friends. But yeah, I want you guys to know me so innately, because because I'm not doing this just to make a quick buck. I'm doing this because it's it's just been so ingrained in me to just speak out and to share stories and to do the things that I do, so that way another little boy or girl in the system doesn't have to face the burdens that, or face the pain that I've had to face with. And if I keep speaking out, then maybe somebody will understand. So yeah, after I left the third foster home, I was completely emotionally damaged. I wrestled a lot with thinking of ways of how I could kill myself. And I know this is a trigger warning, and I will be sure to put up a trigger warning, but I really thought of ways of how I would kill myself, and how I would do it. And I engage in illegal activities that weren't like stealing and things like that, because I just was wrestling with so much as a kid that I was constantly seeking avenues in order to get relief. So you probably, the question is, how did I get here? And I'm just gonna say it was a big helping from God, being surrounded by good people consistently, going to church is important, and just rewiring my mind. I have had to go through so much therapy. I went through so much therapy as a kid, but I don't think therapy when you're in the foster care system is entirely helpful. I think actually it's for the first it wasn't until I was about like maybe 24 that I went to a psychiatrist. He got a really when I got diagnosis of complex PTSD that really kind of shaped my whole world. Like, finally, at 24, I'm like, finally, something's wrong with me. I knew it just couldn't be depression. I knew I wasn't just crazy, but I had been wrestling with PTSD since when I was a kid, and now I am doing that, and now I'm in getting complex PTSD, and trying to figure out ways to manage it and how to cope with that. It's really important. And so the reason why I created This Is Her America was because I wanted young women, especially, to look at this country. As a foster kid, you feel like you're oftentimes bombarded with messages that America is bigoted, America is so smart minded, America is a stolen land, and messaging from such a progressive standpoint that you feel like in the foster system you're a kid with no chance, and now you're being told that you might grow up and be in a world where you literally have no chance. So that's why I created this podcast, to show people you have a chance in this greatest nation, in the greatest nation in the world. You can come out of the system and become a thriving leader. And for the longest time, I just been on survivor mode, and And it wasn't until I got this diagnosis that I realized, like, oh, I'm going to be actually okay. Like, I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure that I am mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically okay. And yeah, and that's what's going to take. So I went from being fostered to being a freedom fighter in just a matter of years, and I'm I'm so happy that I'm on the other side of it, that I'm at this place. So thank you so much for watching this episode, listening to my story. It means so much to me. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button. Let me know that hit that subscribe button. Let me know that you want to become a back row Patriots, and make sure you leave a like. Hit the like button. Make sure you leave a comment. Tell me something in this episode that really resonate with you. So yeah, thank you so much, and I will say until next time. This is Her America. This is for the woman who won't be silent. Love you all. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to This is Her America. We're here to have the conversations others are afraid to touch. If today's episode challenged you, encouraged you, or gave you a new perspective, do not keep it to yourself. Share it, subscribe, and join the conversation. Follow the podcast on YouTube and all major platforms, and stay connected, because this isn't just commentary. This is conviction. Until next time, stay rooted in truth, be bold in faith, and unafraid to stay. This is her time. This is her America. From yours truly.